Starting with a heavier jig, 130 gram. And best to test the drag before it goes down, so that feels about right. First drop. Off we go. Getting nibbles on that. Oh, fish on. So see that, what I did, just doing slow pitch, and then I held it on the spot before I started again. I'm thinking the fish was just following it up, and then when it was stationary, that's when it chose to hit it. Just for about 33 centimeter snapper. Here we go. Oh, fish on. Actually, it's tough. It's not a bad fish. Oh, that's a 35 centimeter snapper. A long contact. Okay, what I'll do, I'll try a range of different techniques over the next few drifts. Starting with the most basic, which is just going to be drop to the bottom and then lift it up and down. As soon as it touches the bottom, I'm going to lift it up a little bit because I don't want it to snag. I don't want it to hook onto some rocks or some reef at the bottom. So here, I'm just going to lift up and follow the line down. Effectively what this does is just keeps the jig in the same area, the same part of the water column. Pretty simple, anyone can do this. Just up and down, near the bottom. Just adjusting the angle of the ski so that the line is more vertical and not going under the ski. I'm just working the bottom water column here. Now I'm just going to wind in half winds, and the rod tip's just going to bounce the jig up and down. So I'll start from here, half, 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 half. And what this does is it flips the ski back and forth while it's underwater. Just drop it down to the bottom and start again. So just half. Now for this technique to work, you really need a slow pitch jig rod because it's got the sensitive tip and the ability to spring the jig back up. If the rod action is too slow, like a slow jig rod, it's not going to be able to do this. The third technique is going to be the combination of lifting and winding. The lift and wind part is at the same time, and then you just let the rod fall by itself, watching your line and making sure you're not getting tip wrapped by the braid. Why this motion is my favorite is because it works the whole water column with slow pitch jigging. Effectively the rod's lifting it up about 1 meter, and then the wind is giving it about half a meter, so 50 centimeters to 75 centimeters. So that's about 1.5 to 2 meters of lift time and of fall, and then you're moving up the water column with each wind that you're doing. So I'll do that, combine it, and watch it fall back down. Try your best not to wind on the way down, but if you end up winding a little bit, it doesn't really matter. This technique I found, it takes a lot of practice until it's second nature. So just get on the water and just practice a lot, and then this technique will become really comfortable to use. I'll drop it back down and I'll demonstrate that one more time. Wind and lift and let it fall. Wind and lift and let it fall. Wind and lift and let it fall. The lift part, if you can have it like this, then it actually, your real hand is actually helping with the lift. See that? Rather than having it in an up position and trying to lift, but then this side push back down, what you want to do is have both doing the same thing at the same time. Then both your hands and your arms is lifting at the same time and falling at the same time. On these next few drops, I'm going to do a series of slow pitch jigging, with the combined lift and wind at the same time, but with bigger lifts. And then after that, I'll demonstrate the same motion, but with smaller lifts. So this is slow pitch jigging, and I'm maximizing the fall time by doing big lifts. I'm watching the braid, just in case it clumps up in the water, which means a fish has taken it. Also, I'm making sure that I'm not wrapping the tip of my rod with the braid. Right, so I'm halfway up the water column, send it back down. As soon as it hits the bottom, I'm stopping it. I'm lifting it up a little bit. I don't want it to sit there and have the chance of hooking onto a reef. If you want to target snapper, then keep it in the bottom 5 to 10 meters. If you want to catch a range of species like kingfish, trevally, kawai, work the jig further up the water column. Okay, next I'm going to do the same lift and wind, but with smaller lifts to give it a bit more twitchy motion. Right, had a fish hit the jig as soon as it hit the bottom anyway, so you probably saw it was falling down. And then as soon as I stopped it, the fish took the jig. There's like another snapper. That's the third snapper today, so yeah, they're all around 35 centimeters from what I can see. And this one's 32, so I'm going to send this one back. It's nice and healthy. Right, off we go. So I'll go back to demonstrating the small lifts. So basically how I do this one, I just do smaller lifts. And sometimes this technique works really well because the fish are not having to chase it up the water column as much before it stops. It's just going up maybe about a meter, and then it's fluttering back down about a meter. So what you notice is I start the lift from quite low. I'm pointing the rod down into the water. I lift it. I'm going from about 4 o'clock to 2 o'clock on this one. And then an even faster, smaller motion than that. I don't really have a name for it, but I found that this technique has been quite comfortable for me to use, which is sort of this one. I kind of do it by feel. I'm winding and lifting at the same time, but it's very small set of motions. But I can imagine, because I'm winding and I'm doing quite a fast lift at the same time, that the jig is working up the water quite well and then getting that fall time. I've just hit slack tide right now, so I'm going to change over from the heavier 130 gram long contact to a lighter 90 gram hybrid contact. The hybrid contact has really good flutter action and works well when the current's not very strong, when the drift's not very fast. If the drift is real fast, then I prefer to use the long contact. I'm going to switch these over. You need a good pair of pliers when you're changing jigs around, and these are the ones I use. These are the HPA game pliers. Alright, so I'm taking off both hook and jig because that jig's already got a set of assist hooks in it. So yeah, watch how these pliers hold a split ring open really well. There you go. Really easy to use. Got it open on the first try. Pop that open like that. And then the solid ring goes on. Just feed that through. There it is. Sending the hybrid contact down, 90 gram in the orange. I can feel it fluttering down quite a bit, so what you can do is you can thumb it lightly, then it falls down vertically without so much flutter. It gets down to the bottom quicker. Alright, let's touch the bottom. First thing I do is lift it up, and then I can start my slow pitch jigging. So just mix up the different techniques as you fish. A lot of it's by feel. Don't always have to stick to the same technique. The fish might respond to different techniques at different times of the day, and you figure out on the day what technique works well. Just coming on slack tide, so maybe the fish have come off the bite. Oh, actually hooked up. As soon as I said that. So that fish probably came up about 5 meters to take this jig. Oh, a big one. It's a small snapper. It's on the orange hybrid contact. Yep, just little twitches on that one, and hooked up. Small snapper. It's a little one. Shows the jig working well. Hooked in the mouth for easy release. Off it goes. Alright, send the jig back down. Lots of sign down there. So yeah, let me know what you think of all the techniques that I've gone through today. Leave a comment. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please hit the subscribe button. Got a whole bunch of other tutorials on my YouTube channel, and yeah, hopefully it helps you with your fishing. If you like this video, please click like on the video. So yeah, I kind of feel like doing the small lift motion at the moment, and if there's nothing happening, I can switch to the bigger lifts. Just see what works on the day. See what motion the fish are into. You can always pause when it stops on the bottom. Give the fish a bit of time. Have a look at the jig. Maybe give it a bit of a bite. And yeah, if there's no inquiries, just send the jig straight back down. I'm very much paying attention the whole time, even on the drop. Remember, slow pitch jigging, it shouldn't be tiring at all. What you don't want to do is put it under your armpits and lift this way, because your motion's really restricted if you do it like that. You want to rest it on your forearm, like so, and you can lift with your whole arm and your shoulders. And just go slow, go easy. You don't need to put a lot of muscle, a lot of power into it. If you're finding you're getting a sore arm from slow pitch jigging, then it means you're lifting too hard, and you shouldn't need to. You can go to a lighter jig and just do smaller lifts. Ooh. Once again, just sitting on the bottom. Good bite. Once you've hooked the fish, you can tuck it under your armpits to fight the fish. And depending on the type of rod you have, you might need to point the rod down, not high stick it. This rod I'm using is the Ocean's Legacy Origin Slow Jigging. So it's our finesse rod, and it's designed to work the jig, not fight the fish. So I got to make sure I don't lift this up too high an angle, because the rod will snap. Oh, that's a good snapper. Try and net this one in time. Oh, in the net. Lip grippers are a really good idea to use to handle fish, especially slow pitch jigging. You're using possibly between 2 to 4 hooks, so with lip grippers you get to keep your hands away from the mouth of the fish, away from the hooks. Just going to give you a nice look at the snapper. Really good size. Look at that. That's on the orange hybrid contact. Orange for Hauraki Golf. Hey, good snapper.